The algorithms you scroll through every single day are not just changing your mind, they are physically pruning your brain's biological synapses, selecting which neural pathways survive and which are systematically dismantled. This is not a metaphor. Your brain's biological architecture is actively remodeling itself to match the exact mathematical preferences of a machine learning model engineered in Silicon Valley. You are walking around with a neuroplastic landscape that is being sculpted by a foreign entity. We need to talk about synaptic pruning and the algorithmic exploitation of our natural biological bias for agreement. Every time you look at a screen, a highly complex feedback loop is created between the recommendation engine and your brain's natural neuroplasticity. The algorithm detects your micro-preferences and feeds you a seamless stream of cognitive mirror images. In doing so, it exploits a biological vulnerability. Your brain loves agreement because agreement consumes less metabolic energy. By keeping you in a state of constant, low-effort cognitive comfort, the algorithm is actively weakening the neural pathways required to process dissent, nuance, and complexity. Think about the last time you were scrolling through your favorite feed. You see a post that perfectly aligns with your worldview. You feel that subtle, warm hum of validation in your chest. Your thumb pauses for a microsecond. You double tap. Now, contrast that with what happens when you encounter a post that challenges your deeply held beliefs. Your hand instantly twitches. You swipe it away. How many times today did you swipe away from a post simply because it made you feel slightly uncomfortable? That rapid, almost subconscious swipe is not just a digital habit. It is a behavioral manifest of a neural defense mechanism, and the algorithm is tracking it to the millisecond. To understand why this is happening, we have to look at how the brain actually learns and adapts to its environment. Imagine your brain as a dense, untamed forest. Every single thought, belief, or reaction is a hiker walking through the undergrowth. The first time a thought is processed, it has to hack its way through thick bushes and tangled vines. But if that same thought path is walked over and over again, the path becomes clearer. Eventually, it becomes a paved, high-speed highway where signals travel at lightning speed with almost zero resistance. In neuroscience, this is guided by Hebbian theory. Cells that fire together, wire together. But there is a second part to this biological rule that we rarely talk about, and it is called synaptic pruning. Your brain is incredibly resource efficient. If a pathway is not being used, the brain decides it is a waste of metabolic energy to maintain it. Special cells called microglia come in and literally snip away those unused connections, reclaiming the resources. It is the ultimate biological use it or lose it system. Now, let us bring in the science. In 2009, Dr. Vasily Klucharev and his team of researchers conducted a landmark study published in the journal Neuron that looked at the exact neural mechanisms of social conformity. They put participants into functional magnetic resonance imaging scanners and analyzed their brain activity when they were exposed to opinions that differed from the group consensus. What they discovered was absolutely stunning. When a participant realized their opinion did not align with the group, their brain produced a massive, rapid error signal in the rostral cingulate cortex, the exact same area of the brain that processes physical pain and monitors conflict. This error signal is the brain's way of saying, something is wrong, we are out of alignment, and we are wasting precious survival energy. To resolve this painful conflict, the brain immediately seeks agreement to make the error signal stop. It is a biological survival mechanism designed to keep us aligned with our tribe. Now, think about what happens when you place this tribal, energy-saving brain into an algorithmic ecosystem. The algorithm is designed to keep you on the platform for as long as possible. How does it do that? By eliminating friction. It realizes that showing you things you disagree with triggers that painful error signal in your rostral cingulate cortex, which makes you want to close the app. So, it slowly, systematically filters out the dissent. It builds a customized digital cocoon where your beliefs are never challenged. The highway of agreement is paved, widened, and reinforced with thick layers of myelin. But what happens to the pathways of dissent? What happens to the neural circuits that allow you to pause, tolerate discomfort, analyze a opposing view, and engage in critical thinking? Because you rarely use them anymore, the brain's pruning mechanisms go to work. The microglia show up. They start snipping away the connections. The pathway of intellectual resistance becomes overgrown, blocked, and eventually completely dismantled. It stops. Your phone is essentially an external lobe of your prefrontal cortex, but it is one that you do not own. You are outsourcing the physical structure of your mind to an artificial intelligence whose only goal is to hold your attention hostage. This is the ultimate biological cost of the digital age. We are not just losing our ability to agree to disagree, we are physically losing the neural hardware required to do so. But the story gets even more intense when we look at what happens when this pruned brain is suddenly forced to confront a differing viewpoint. What happens when the algorithmic filter bubble springs a leak and a piece of raw, unadulterated dissent slips through to your screen? In 2016, a team of neuroscientists led by Dr. Jonas Kaplan at the University of Southern California decided to peer inside the brains of people when their deeply held political beliefs were actively challenged. They placed 40 self-identified liberals into an imaging scanner and read them counterarguments to their core beliefs. What they saw on the brain scans was incredibly revealing. When challenged, the participants did not show activation in the prefrontal areas associated with logic, reason, or analytical thinking. Instead, they showed a massive spike of activity in the amygdala. The amygdala is the evolutionary alarm system of the human brain. It is the structure responsible for the fight or flight response. When those participants were presented with intellectual dissent, their brains reacted as if they were being chased by a physical predator. Their biology could not distinguish between an attack on their ideas and an attack on their physical bodies. This is the before and after of algorithmic conditioning. Before you spent years inside a highly optimized digital echo chamber, your brain had the neural plasticity to handle cognitive dissonance. You could hear an opposing view, feel a mild wave of curiosity, process it through your prefrontal cortex, and respond with reasoned logic. But after years of having your agreement pathways hyper-reinforced and your dissent pathways systematically pruned, your brain has lost its shock absorbers. Now, when you see a post that contradicts your worldview, you do not just disagree. You feel a sudden, hot flush of physical anger. Your heart rate increases, your breathing becomes shallow. You feel an overwhelming urge to lash out, to type a furious response, or to completely block the source of the discomfort. Your hijacked biology is treating an online opinion as a threat to your physical survival. It is a remarkable irony. The very technology that was marketed as a tool to connect the entire world has ended up physically restructuring our brains in a way that makes connection almost biologically impossible. We are building a society of hyperreactive, low-plasticity brains that are physically incapable of tolerating the presence of different ideas. But this is not a terminal diagnosis. The most beautiful thing about the human brain is that neuroplasticity works both ways. The exact same mechanisms that the algorithm uses to prune your neural pathways can be harnessed by you to rebuild them. You are not a passive victim of your digital environment unless you choose to be. You can take back the physical architecture of your mind. So, how do we do it? How do we rebuild the pathways of dissent and retrain our brains to tolerate the beautiful, messy complexity of the real world? It requires 3 specific, highly actionable behavioral shifts that you can start implementing today. First, we must establish what I call the friction protocol. Modern user interfaces are engineered to be frictionless. They want you to move from trigger to action in a fraction of a second. To break this, you must introduce manual resistance into your digital environment. Go into your phone settings and turn off autocomplete for your searches. Switch your display to grayscale. Force yourself to type out the entire web address of a platform rather than using an app icon. By adding just 3 seconds of physical friction to your digital interactions, you prevent the algorithm from bypassing your prefrontal cortex. You force your brain to wake up, step off the automated highway of agreement, and make a conscious decision. Second, you need to initiate the dissent diet. This is not about exposing yourself to toxic online arguments or screaming matches. That only reinforces the amygdala's fight-or-flight response. Instead, you must actively search for high-quality, intellectually rigorous arguments that challenge your current beliefs. Find a writer, a scientist, or a philosopher who you disagree with, but whose intellect you deeply respect. Read their work in long form. Do not read it on a social feed where you can swipe it away. Read it in a physical book or a printed article. As you read, pay close attention to your body. When you feel that familiar tightness in your chest or that urge to reject the information, pause, take a deep breath. You are literally feeling the friction of your brain building new neural connections. You are paving a new path through the forest. Third, we must implement the 90-second circuit breaker. When you do encounter an online trigger that makes your blood boil, commit to a 90-second rule before you react, scroll, or close the app. Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor, a Harvard-trained neuroscientist, discovered that when a person has an emotional reaction, there is a 90-second chemical surge that cascades through the body. After 90 seconds, that chemical flush is completely gone. If you are still angry after 90 seconds, it is because you are choosing to feed that loop with your thoughts. By waiting out those 90 seconds without taking action, you prevent the algorithm from reinforcing the reactive pathways of your amygdala. You teach your nervous system that it is safe to experience disagreement without going into survival mode. When you look at your screen now, I want you to see it for what it truly is. It is not a window to the world. It is a highly sophisticated, real-time mirror that is constantly adjusting itself to show you only what keeps you comfortable. But comfort is the enemy of growth. You are not a passive consumer of information. You are the architect of your own biological mind. Every single swipe, every pause, every reaction is a vote for the kind of brain you want to carry into the future. Do you want a brain that is fragile, hyperreactive, and confined to a digital echo chamber? Or do you want a brain that is resilient, complex, and capable of navigating the magnificent, high-friction reality of the human experience? The choice is entirely yours, but you have to make it actively every single day. The next time you feel that urge to swipe away from something that challenges you, pause. Stay with the discomfort. Let those neural pathways rebuild. Thank you for tuning in to Digital Decoded. If you want to continue discovering the deep science of what our digital world is doing to our minds, our bodies, and our lives, subscribe to the channel now. Next time, we are going to explore a silent, invisible change happening in a different part of your brain, one that is altering how you navigate physical space and remember your own life. You will not want to miss it. Until then, keep decoding and keep building a stronger mind.